the Lightning Priority Secret. When Lightning first showed up in Clash Royale, everyone thought they understood it perfectly. High damage spell, hits 3 targets, costs 6 elixir, simple enough, right? Lightning will always prioritize the troop with the most health. But when multiple troops have the exact same health, that's when everything falls apart. The game uses some secret secondary priority system that literally nobody understands, and Supercell has never bothered to explain. Some players swear it's based on how close troops are to the spell's center, others are convinced it's deployment order. But here's the kicker. Testing keeps giving different results depending on which troops you're using. It's inconsistent as hell. And it gets absolutely wild with evolved troops. Those evolution HP boosts mess with the numbers just enough that your whole game plan gets wrecked. Like actual top ladder gods players who could probably play this game blindfolded have gotten completely thrown off by lightning hitting targets they never saw coming. People have done frame by frame breakdowns, and sometimes when troops have the exact same HP, lightning just skips perfectly good targets and hits something way across the arena instead. No explanation, no pattern, just pure chaos. Here's the thing, if all your troops have different HP, you're totally fine. Lightning will just hit the highest health targets like it's supposed to. But if you're defending with multiple units sitting at identical HP, good luck predicting which ones are about to get struck. There's obviously some rule the game is following for these tied situations, but Supercell won't tell us what it is, and every time players test it, they get contradictory results. Some think it's tied to which troop spawned first in the match, like the game keeps track behind the scenes of what order everything loaded in, which you obviously can't see as a player. Others think it might be connected to card rarity or how troops are classified in the game files. Without any official word from Supercell, this stays as one of those mechanics where even the best players in the world sometimes just have to guess and hope they're right. P.E.K.K.A gender and nature. Nobody can agree on whether she's a robot, whether she's actually alive, or why some versions of the game randomly call her a he. P.E.K.K.A is one of the most iconic troops in Clash Royale. This heavily armored powerhouse comes equipped with team-colored horns and wields a massive sword that can demolish almost anything in her path. She's slow, she's expensive at 7 elixir, but she's absolutely devastating when she connects with the tower. Unlocked from P.E.K.K.A's Playhouse Arena, she's been a staple win condition and tank destroyer since launch. For years, players have debated whether P.E.K.K.A is male or female, and here's where it gets complicated. The answer actually depends on which language version of the game you're playing. The English version has consistently referred to P.E.K.K.A as female. Clash of Clans loading screen hints mention how the armor on P.E.K.K.A is so heavy that spring traps don't affect her. Official videos and promotional content show her with feminine characteristics. Supercell's official stance in English content has always been that P.E.K.K.A is a she. But if you play the game in Arabic, Persian, or Finnish, P.E.K.K.A is referred to with male pronouns. This isn't intentional ambiguity, it's linguistic nuances in translation, creating completely opposite understandings of the same character across different regions. Then in 2024, Supercell dropped a lore bomb in an animation short that changed everything. They revealed that P.E.K.K.A isn't just a robot or a suit of armor, there's actually a rejected nature spirit trapped inside. According to the official lore, this spirit, possibly the 5th elemental, was banished by the king and fused with dormant armor over time, creating the mechanical monstrosity we know today. The irony is perfect. A spirit of nature, something that should represent life and growth, became the most destructive and mechanical troop in the entire game. This also explains P.E.K.K.A's strange obsession with butterflies, which has been a running joke in Clash content for years. She chases them, she's gentle with them, and there's even a decoration called P.E.K.K.A Protector with the description, "No one messes with her butterfly." That's the nature spirit inside desperately reaching out to the only connection she has left to her original form. And here's one more layer to this mystery. Clash. Arama Comics suggests that mini P.E.K.K.A might actually be her child or even pilots her from inside like a DJ set, with episodes showing a phonograph or control setup within the larger armor. The lore doesn't explicitly confirm this, but the visual similarities and animations certainly leave room for interpretation. Speaking of confusing classifications, there's a wizard who isn't actually a wizard at all. Electro Wizard's classification. The Electro Wizard can't touch metal or take a bath without risking death, and he's not even supposed to be called a wizard. When you drop the Electro Wizard onto the battlefield, he makes an entrance. His distinctive spiky black hair stands on end, he's got these elongated pointed ears and a black mustache, and he wears a team-colored suit with gold linings. His deploy damage stuns everything around him with a satisfying POW, and his chain lightning attacks can reset Inferno Towers, Inferno Dragons, and Sparky, making him one of the most valuable support troops in the game since his 2016 release from Electro Valley. He looks like a wizard, he's classified as a wizard in troop categories, and his card literally has wizard in the name. But according to official lore, he's not actually a wizard at all. Here's what really happened. As revealed in the Origin of the Electro Wizard lore video, the Electro Wizard was just a regular guy, an inventor tinkering around in his laboratory. One day he accidentally drank an entire vial of Zap Spell liquid. Not a small sip, not a taste, the whole thing. This wasn't some mystical awakening or years of magical study. This was a workplace accident. The electricity from the Zap vial fused with his body, permanently transforming him into a walking lightning conductor. Now he's stuck with these powers whether he wants them or not, and his life is apparently a nightmare. The lore explicitly states he can't touch metal anymore without causing massive electrical discharges. Taking a bath is a potentially lethal activity because water conducts electricity. He has to completely restructure his entire life around this accident. He never studied magic, he has no training in mystical arts, and he doesn't understand the arcane forces he's wielding. He's just an inventor who made a catastrophically bad decision and now has to live with the consequences. But here's where it gets even weirder. The Electro Wizard is still classified as a wizard in the game's troop categories. He shares this designation with the regular wizard and Ice Wizard, yet his powers come from science, not magic. He helped create the Tesla building, which is pure engineering. He's even credited with co-creating the Void spell alongside the Evolved Wizard and Ice Wizard, as shown in the Void introduction video. This blurs the line between magical dimensions and scientific phenomena even further. The whole thing makes you wonder what even counts as magic in Clash Royale. If drinking a spell is all it takes to become a wizard, then literally anyone could do it. This single character basically breaks the entire classification system the game pretends to have, but at least the Electro Wizard stays smart. Unlike these guys who supposedly get dumber with age, Goblin intelligence with age. Goblins start off clever and end up complete idiots according to Clash of Clans lore, but Clash Royale shows something completely different. Goblins in Clash Royale are small, grotesque, green-skinned creatures pulled straight from European folklore traditions. Unlocked from Goblin Stadium since the launch, they're fast, cheap, and perfect for swarming strategies. In mythology, goblins occupy this weird space where they're sometimes depicted as helpful household spirits and other times as malicious thieves who steal children and cause chaos. They're known for magical abilities like shapeshifting and trickery. Clash Royale's goblins keep that chaotic, unpredictable energy. They're essential for cycle death, quick defensive plays, and overwhelming opponents with numbers. Here's where things get confusing. A Clash of Clans advertisement explicitly stated that goblins are very smart as babies but grow less intelligent as they age. This would explain why young goblins seem tactical while older ones throw themselves recklessly at defenses. It's like reverse human development where instead of gaining wisdom with age, goblins actively get dumber. That's the official Clash of Clans lore, established in their promotional content, but Clash Royale completely contradicts this. Before the 2023 shop redesign, Clash Royale featured an elderly shopkeeper goblin with white hair, glasses, and a wise demeanor who managed the entire in-game store. This wasn't some foolish old goblin making bad decisions, this was a respected elder running a successful business. Even European folklore can't agree on this. Some tales show young goblins as clever tricksters, while elder goblins are foolish and easily outwitted. Other stories present ancient goblins as wise beings with centuries of accumulated knowledge. Clash Royale seems to follow the wise elder tradition, while Clash of Clans went with the dumber with age version, creating a direct contradiction between the two games. This isn't just some minor lore inconsistency, it completely changes how we're supposed to understand goblin behavior across the entire Supercell universe. Either these aren't even the same species of goblin, or different goblin tribes age in completely opposite ways, or the lore just evolved differently as new games got made. The community has zero answers, and there's never been any official explanation for this contradiction. Maybe the unpredictability is intentional, reinforcing the whole chaotic goblin vibe. Or maybe it's just how the world building developed over time. Honestly, probably both. The Rage spell building. Trick Rage is one of those spells everyone thinks they understand completely. 2 Elixir, speeds up your troops, makes pushes way more aggressive. Pretty straightforward, right? But there's something weird hiding in Rage's code that basically nobody talks about. When you cast a Rage spell, it temporarily registers as a building for about half a second, 0.5 to 0.6 seconds to be exact. During that brief window, it occupies space on the battlefield like any structure, and if you place a building like a cannon or Tesla in a specific position, then immediately drop Rage in the right spot with pixel-perfect timing, the Rage spell's temporary building status can obstruct or displace your building's placement. This creates something the community calls building displacement, or Rage spell obstruction. The effect nudges structures slightly in a specific direction based on where the Rage's center is relative to the building. Advanced players have used this to push a cannon forward just enough to intercept a Hog Rider that would normally bypass it, or to create defensive angles that shouldn't exist according to normal tile placement rules. The technique is incredibly finicky. It works most reliably on smaller buildings like Cannon and Tesla, less so on larger structures like Barbarian Hut or Goblin Hut. You need to understand the exact pixel positions and timing windows to pull this off. There's a super precise input registration component where even being slightly off means it won't work, which is exactly why this sits deep in the game's hidden mysteries that most players never even know exist. Here's where it gets even weirder. Supercell has patched this multiple times throughout the game's history, but it keeps crawling back. Reports from October 2025 confirm it resurfaced after the Merge Tactics update, possibly because changes to collision detection or building spawning mechanics reintroduce the underlying bug. Every time Supercell adjusts how buildings or spells interact with arena tiles, there's potential for this displacement trick to work again in slightly different forms. It's not technically cheating since you're using game mechanics as they exist, but the community treats it as a forbidden technique because of how inconsistent and situational it is. You can't rely on it working every time, and if you try to use it in competitive play and it fails, you've wasted elixir and positioning. But when it works, it creates defensive advantages that opponents can't predict because they don't expect buildings to be in those positions. This all connects to the broader mystery of how Clash Royale's physics engine actually works. The fact that spells temporarily count as buildings creates these bizarre displacement effects that seem to defy the game's own logic. Either the code is way more tangled than anyone realizes, or there's something fundamental about how the game handles entity spawning that makes this quirk completely unavoidable. Skeletons' pain sensation skeletons scream and react to getting hit, but they're literally just bones. So what exactly are they feeling? Skeletons are one of the most efficient cards in Clash Royale. For just 1 elixir, you get 3 small undead troops with jawless skulls wielding short swords. Originally adjusted in 2017 updates and unlocked from Bone Pit, they're spawned by multiple cards: the Witch, the Night Witch, Tombstone, Graveyard, Skeleton King, Skeleton Army, Skeleton Barrel, and Super Witch. They die to almost everything, but in the right hands, they can distract, kite, and cycle faster than almost any other card in the game. These are the exact same skeletons across all these cards. Identical, just skull design, same short swords, same animations. Clash-O-Rama comics even established that at least one skeleton is the actual child of the giant skeleton, adding a weirdly wholesome family dynamic to these undead creatures. But here's what doesn't make sense. Skeletons react to pain. Watch their animations closely. When they get hit, they flinch, they recoil. Some animations show them appearing to scream, even though they have no vocal cords, no lungs, and no flesh whatsoever. When a skeleton takes damage, it doesn't just mechanically register the hit like a robot, it seems to experience something. But here's where it gets wild. These are literally just animated bones held together by magic or necromancy. No nerves, no pain receptors, no biological structures that could possibly transmit pain signals to a brain that doesn't exist. The implications are kind of disturbing when you think about it. Either skeletons are fully sentient beings trapped in their bony prisons with the complete capacity to suffer, or they retain some kind of residual emotions and sensations from their past lives when they actually had flesh. The other option is that it's all just magical echoes, like a recording of pain that plays automatically when their form gets damaged with zero actual consciousness behind it. Nobody knows, and Supercell definitely isn't telling us. The game never explains this, and fan analyses in lore videos debate these animation inconsistencies without any direct developer confirmation. It's way creepier that way. This raises disturbing questions about all the undead troops in Clash Royale. The giant skeleton, the guards, the skeleton army, are they all experiencing pain every time they get hit? The whole thing gets kind of wild when you think about it. Like, are these skeletons actually aware of their undead state? Every time you drop a graveyard spell, you might be summoning conscious beings who realize they're stuck fighting and dying on repeat. The The supernatural theme hits different when you consider that every skeleton card you play could involve actual suffering. It's weirdly dark for a game with this art style, but here we are. Battle Ram's third Barbarian. 3 Barbarians go into the evolved Battle Ram, but only 2 come out. Where does the third one go? The Battle Ram is a unique win condition unlocked from Barbarian Bowl since its introduction. 2 muscular barbarians carry a massive wooden ram between them, charging directly toward the nearest building. When it connects with a tower, it deals devastating damage, and the 2 barbarians spawn to continue fighting. It's a 4 elixir investment that can catch opponents off guard and apply serious pressure if left unanswered. The card has been a staple in various meta decks, particularly in bridge spam strategies. Then, in 2023, Supercell introduced evolution cards through the Card Evolution update with Wild Shards, and the Battle Ram got one of the first evolutions. The evolved Battle Ram looks bigger, more reinforced, and received balance changes like August 2023's hit point boost. But here's the weird part that the lore actually addresses. There's a third barbarian hidden inside the ram structure. According to the evolution's backstory, this third barbarian reinforces the ram from within, with players reporting hearing muffled cries during charges. You can see evidence of his presence during gameplay. The ram is bulkier, heavier, more powerful. But when the evolved battle ram gets destroyed or successfully hits a building, only 2 barbarians spawn every single time. The third barbarian just vanishes. He's completely gone. No death animation, no body, no explanation beyond the lore's vague mention that he reinforces the ram. Players have tested this extensively. They've slowed down footage, checked frame by frame, and the result is always the same. 2 barbarians spawn, 1 disappears completely. The lore suggests this is intentional, a sacrifice. The third barbarian isn't meant to survive. He's inside the ram, holding it together, reinforcing its structure with his own body, and when the ram is destroyed, so is he. It's a kamikaze role, and apparently, there are barbarians willing to accept it. This adds a disturbing layer to the barbarian horde's characterization. They're already portrayed as wild, fearless warriors willing to throw themselves into any fight. But the evolved battle ram reveals something even darker. There are barbarians who accept roles where they're guaranteed not to emerge, never getting the glory of direct combat, existing only to strengthen the charge at the cost of their own lives. That mystery is dark, but not as dark as the identity crisis surrounding this heavily armored legend. Mega Knight's identity. The Mega Knight is either a random dude from night school, the prince's secret brother, or literally the builder. Nobody knows for sure. When the Mega Knight drops onto the battlefield, everyone knows it. His entrance jump deals massive area damage, and his appearance is unforgettable. Piercing blue eyes visible through his helmet, black eyebrows, a helmet with team-colored feather plume, dual maces, gray chainmail, and a belt that makes him look like royalty's ultimate enforcer. Released in 2017 from Electro Valley, he costs 7 elixir, and his ability to jump on troops and buildings makes him a threat that constantly demands respect. He's been meta-defining since release, with a 2024 evolution adding even more power, and spawning countless memes about Mega Knight users and their perceived lack of skill. The official lore from Supercell says, the Mega Knight trained at something called Night School, which raises more questions than it answers. What is Night School in the Clash universe? Is it literally a school that operates at night, or is it some kind of secretive training program? Who runs it? What do they teach there? The lore presents this as if it explains everything about Mega Knight's abilities, but it actually explains nothing. It's the vaguest possible origin story for one of the game's most iconic troops. But the community isn't satisfied with the Night School explanation, and for good reason. There are way too many visual similarities between Mega Knight and the Prince for it to be coincidental. They both have blue eyes. They both wear similar armor styles with team colors and feathered helmets. They both have that royal aesthetic. Community theory videos like The Secret Identity of the Mega Knight point out these connections, with players convinced Mega Knight is actually the Prince's brother, possibly a younger or older sibling who took a different path. Maybe he was cast out from the royal family and had to train independently at night school. Maybe he's the black sheep who chose mercenary work over royal duties. Then there's the third theory, and this one connects to the broader Supercell universe. Mega Knight might be the builder from Clash of Clans. Look at the builder's facial features and compare them to what we can see of Mega Knight's face through his helmet. The build is similar. The general proportions match. And it would explain why Mega Knight is so good at jumping and heavy combat, because he literally built structures and wielded hammers in another game. This theory suggests that the builder retired from village construction, underwent intense combat training at the mysterious Knight School, and emerged as the Mega Knight we know today. Supercell has never confirmed or denied any of these theories. Developer hints in promotional material fuel speculation, clearly enjoying watching the community argue about Mega Knight's true identity. It keeps players engaged, theorizing, and analyzing every new piece of content for clues. Whether he's a random Knight School graduate, secret royalty, or an interdimensional builder, the mystery is part of what makes him iconic. And if you think that family tree is confusing, wait until you hear about the royal family drama. Little Prince clone glitch. The Little Prince has been breaking games since 2023, and not just because he's annoying to deal with. Players discovered that if you cast clone at the exact frame he activates his royal rescue ability, something completely broken happens. Instead of getting weak clone champions like you're supposed to, you get full power Little Prince copies that can actually win fights. And the craziest part, people were claiming you could stack up to 8 of them on the field at once. Real footage from 2023 and 2024 shows this actually breaking matches. Players were getting double Guardian spawning, full health Little Prince clones running around, complete chaos. The timing is super precise. You have to cast clone right when he activates his ability, and it bypasses the normal champion clone weakening mechanic that's supposed to make clone champions useless. Now, the 8 Little Princes thing is definitely exaggerated. If you look at actual gameplay footage, you see maybe 2 to 4 max, not 8. But even that's game-breaking. In friendly battles where you can fast cycle cards, people were stacking multiple full power Little Princes and just overwhelming their opponent. The Clash Royale iceberg even lists unlimited Little Prince as expert level knowledge, which is wild. This whole glitch fits perfectly with his lore as a fraud and a thief. Like, even his gameplay is cheating the system. The kid who stole his way into becoming a champion now is a glitch that lets him multiply himself and break the entire match. It's almost poetic. Supercell has patched most variants of this bug, but honestly, for a character whose entire identity is built on deception and stealing what isn't his, having the most broken exploit in the game feels like exactly what he deserves. Purple King's appearance. For one brief moment in 2017, a third king appeared in official Clash Royale content, then was never mentioned again. Since Clash Royale's global launch in 2016, the entire game has been built around one fundamental concept: 2 kings, 2 colors, 2 sides, red versus blue. The red king commands one side of the arena, the blue king commands the other, and every single match revolves around this duality. It's not just a game mechanic, it's the core identity of Clash Royale. The loading screens show 2 kings, the arena towers are split between red and blue, and even the card backs reference this 2-faction system. There's never been any deviation from this structure in actual gameplay. But in 2017, something impossible appeared. In an official promotional image released by Supercell through their social media channels, there was a purple king. Not a recolor of the existing kings, not a fan creation, but an actual official depiction showing a third monarch with purple regalia standing alongside the red and blue kings. The image appeared briefly, generated massive confusion in the community, and then was never explained or referenced again. Supercell didn't address questions about it, didn't clarify whether it was an error or intentional, and the Purple King vanished from all subsequent official content as if he never existed. The community went absolutely wild with theories, discussed in videos like Clash Royale Purple King and lore inconsistencies. Was this teasing a future 3-team mode? Was the Purple King from an alternate realm or hidden kingdom? Did Supercell accidentally leak content that got cancelled during development? Some players suggested the Purple King represents a third faction that exists outside the arena, possibly controlling forces from behind the scenes. Others thought it might be related to clan wars or a special event mode that never materialized. The most intriguing theory is that the Purple King represents undiscovered territories in the Clash universe. If there can be a third king, why not a 4th, 5th, or more? This would fundamentally change how we understand the game's world building. Instead of just 2 kingdoms in eternal conflict, there could be an entire network of royal realms, with the arena battles we play being just one small piece of a much larger political landscape. Maybe the red and blue kings are brothers locked in conflict while other kingdoms watch and wait. Maybe the Purple King is their father, an older sibling, or a rival who was written out of history. Supercell has never addressed this mystery in over 8 years. The Purple King appeared once in official content and then was completely ignored. It remains one of the most blatant, unexplained contradictions in Clash Royale lore, and the complete lack of acknowledgement makes it even more suspicious. Either it was a massive mistake that Supercell hopes everyone forgets, or it's a hint at something bigger that they're not ready to reveal, possibly tied to future faction expansions or alternate realm theories. And hidden details keep popping up in the strangest places, like this tiny reflection that predicted the future. Firecracker's hidden figure. Supercell hid a clue for their biggest character release in the Firecracker's eyeball, and almost nobody noticed it. The Firecracker was released in 2019 from Spooky Town, and she immediately became one of the most versatile defensive cards in the game. This small female troop resembles an archer in build, but carries a massive rocket launcher instead of a bow. She wears a team-colored headband and tunic, along with a distinctive black hood, gloves, boots, and belt that make her look ready for guerrilla warfare. Her attack shoots a rocket that explodes on impact, dealing area damage and knocking back both the target and herself, creating this chaotic, unpredictable rhythm that makes her perfect for cycle decks and defensive chip damage. When Supercell released the original Firecracker render in 2019, they posted on Twitter with a cryptic message, "Look closely." This immediately sent the community into detective mode, analyzing every pixel of the image for hidden clues, and they found something incredible. In the Firecracker's eye, specifically in the reflection visible in her eye's surface, there was a tiny silhouette. When players zoomed in and enhanced the image, they could make out what appeared to be a crowned figure. This wasn't a random reflection or an artistic accident. It was a deliberate Easter egg that Supercell planted as a hint for 2020's biggest character, according to developer tweets. The community exploded with theories about who the crowned silhouette represented. The leading theory at the time was that it hinted at a Death Knight character, based on leaked files and data-mined information suggesting a Dark Knight-themed card was in development. This theoretical Death Knight was supposed to spawn guards and fit into the undead troop category. Players analyzed the crown shape, the figure's proportions, and tried to match it against upcoming troops. But months passed through 2020 and no Death Knight appeared. The theory seemed wrong and the mystery deepened. Then, in 2023, a full 4 years after the Firecracker's release, Supercell dropped the Little Prince as a new champion. And suddenly, the reflection made sense. The Little Prince wears a distinctive red crown, matches the proportions of the silhouette, and his royal status perfectly explains why he'd be hidden in a reflection. Was Supercell really teasing a champion that wouldn't be released for 4 years? If so, why such an insane timeline? Was the Little Prince's development delayed that long? Or was this always the plan? Some players still think the silhouette was meant for the Death Knight concept that got cancelled or postponed, and Supercell just retrofitted the hint to apply to the Little Prince after the fact. Others believe this proves Supercell plans content years in advance and plants clues, knowing it'll take the community forever to solve them, or that releases will be so delayed that early hints become prophetic by accident. The 4-year gap between hint and potential payoff is wild either way. Balance changes kept Firecracker relevant throughout this period, with inspiration drawn from Brawl Stars character Penny, but the eye Easter egg remained unsolved until the Little Prince's arrival made it click. The Firecracker eye reflection represents how deep Supercell is willing to hide clues in their content. They're not just putting hints in trailers and patch notes, they're embedding them in character eye reflections, expecting dedicated players to zoom in frame by frame. It rewards obsessive analysis, but it also means we might still be missing secrets hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right content release years later to suddenly make sense. Drop a comment if you've noticed something weird we didn't cover, and hit subscribe for more Clash Royale videos.